I was a financial advisor, as you can tell by the way I talk, for 10 years. I advised full time on 300 million. The reason I got down this specific rabbit hole is because I saw about 220 million of those dollars were in underperforming real estate in Northern California. Like the 1% rule says that your $4.4 million rental should be renting for $44,000 a month. It was renting for six. I saw $220 million of that. Most of my clients were like poor in person, like they didn't have a ton of cash because all of their net worth was tied up in these assets that weren't cash flowing. So I dealt with that for a decade. I went to my team, which was spending between $3 and $5 million a year just on advertising. And I said, hey, let me go find us a real estate partnership. And so for 2.5 years, I was the real estate guy at my firm. And I was sitting down with syndications. I sat down with 7 different syndication CEOs. And I was just like, we'll refer you business. We're bringing in 1,000, 2,000 leads a year. We just need a good product that we can rely on, right? I sat down with DSTs, about 3 different companies. I broke their stuff apart. I got to meet their key employees, like the COO of my company. I hired from one of these other companies, right? Like I was swinging a $3.5 million, like an infinite pipeline of new clients. And so they let me see their books, right? They let me see their product. And I was a decade in financial advice, so I knew what I was talking about. Same thing with REITs. Here's the problem. Every single one of these, what I would call commingled large scale real estate, not residential, that's wrong. It's residential or commercial, right? Is the same exact risk. They're like different slices of the same pie. And that is, they're all doing something similar. Like a syndication is the easiest one to describe. Every syndication out there is saying we're going to go buy a 350 unit complex that's under market value. We're going to borrow 20% from all you people in the syndication, and then we're going to borrow another 20% to improve it. We're going to go in, we're going to do a 350 unit complex rehab, and then we're going to up the rents to market. That's the same play. DSTs, syndications, REITs. Those are identical. They're going to do the exact same thing. It's not even hard, right? The problem is if they get into problems with the improvement, the renovation, or they get in problems with the building because instead of a 350 unit complex, they are building medical, blah, 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 dialysis clinics, you name the real estate product. If they get into problems, your money is in what's called a co-mingled position, right? Your $2.6 million or whatever is going to be part of a $40 million raise to do this work, right? Which means they are the managers, no ifs, ands, or buts. You cannot fire them because they're the managers for all the other money and all the other people too. So you have no control over management past giving them your money. The second problem is you do not get to decide when to sell the asset. As soon as you're in, they decide when to sell. And talk to someone who's done a syndication or a DST. Those do not always sell when they say they're going to sell. And once they sell, if there's lawsuits or something, they don't distribute money when they say they're going to distribute. And if you don't believe me, just Google it. Problems with DST, problems with syndication. You'll realize right here, right now, I'm like spitting nothing but truth, right? Number 3, you don't control the financing. They control the financing. In a lot of DSTs, you're actually on the note in some way. You're obligated, but you don't control the financing, which means, hey, you can't control going out and getting a refi. You can't control selling it if your health changes, this, that, and the other. And the biggest risk by far, bar none, by far, is that if things start to go wrong, they're going wrong behind the scenes of a business you don't control. If there's embezzlement, if the rehab gets complicated, if something goes wrong, it's going to go behind a curtain that you can't see. And so people realize these assets have gone wrong because the company involved declares bankruptcy and all the money's gone. And even if it's going wrong, and even if they look like morons, and even if you want out, you don't control when you enter and you don't control when you exit, and you can't replace management. And so you end up on this roller coaster of like hoping it'll go well and realizing that you were really undersold the level of risk. Because of that, the SEC has said that these are either Regulation A or Regulation D securities, which should only be invested in by accredited investors. That is someone who has a net worth of $1 million outside of their primary residence. Because the SEC has effectively said if you're going to be in one of these products, you have to know it can go to zero and you have to do your own research. The problem is that $1 million number was set in 1963. It should be 10 million. It's still a million because it was the Securities and Exchange Act of 1963 that set it, and it's never been updated. People with $10 million have lawyers to go research this crap. People with $1.5 million might not. And so a lot of people are getting into these products which are hyper risky without realizing how risky they are, because I guarantee you no DST or syndication you've talked to has said these are the risks. They didn't say it for me either. I did 2.5 years of research. I eventually had to go back to my company and say, I've wasted a whole bunch of time. They're way too risky. One of these companies is going to get involved in something. They're not going to manage it well. Our clients are going to lose all their money and we're going to get sued. And so I shut the whole thing down. The thing I like about single family, even though the asset's kind of noisy, with the Bedrock model, you get to buy it, you own it 100%. You can tell me when you want to sell it. What I love about single family residential is it actually does a really good job of addressing the problems that actually happen. Like if you have a $2.6 million property, if you guys don't conduct this 1031 exchange, it's just this tax apocalypse, right? This is a huge tax bill. One of the things that's amazing is that you can actually, if we keep seeing inflation, if you go out and buy 10 properties, right? You can sell one this year, refeather your nest. You have a $414,000 basis, right? On that 2.6 million. That means if you didn't conduct the 1031 exchange into something, you're going to get taxed the difference. You're going to get taxed on 2.2 million. Now, the way that's going to hit is it's going to take you straight up the tax brackets to the highest bracket humanly imaginable, right? Whereas if you did a 1031 and went out and got 10 houses, if there's a diagnosis that's bad and you need some money to go into assisted living, you sell one house. That means that calendar year, you've only got a $250,000 taxable event. But what's actually happening is it's 1/10 of the basis. And so you're saying, hey, that house has a $41,000 basis because I broke this up into 10 houses, right? And so I'll have a taxable event, but my income is only going to be 250K higher. That's low enough, it might not even screw up your Medicaid, right? Where if you ever sell the property in one big chunk in one big calendar year, it's impossible to plan around that. Another thing we like is if you got multiple kids, leaving one $2 million asset is just a nightmare. We call it the inheritance bomb. Like one kid doesn't need the money, one kid definitely needs the money, and one kid does all the work on the house. It's just really hard to split up a $2 million single house asset. What we love about single family is you can buy a portfolio and you could just tell them, you get the Memphis houses, you get the Ohio houses, and you get the other two houses plus cash. It's really easy to divide them up. And then you don't have your kids killing each other over one $2.6 million asset. And if we keep seeing inflation or you need like a big chunk of money at any one point, I love that you can spread it over calendar years and get that taxable event spread out. Because the truth is, you might have to sell, specifically long-term care, chronic care, medical. Those are the things I saw over and over that just ate my clients. They just ate my clients. By having a portfolio, yeah, sell one or two a year. Whatever you need, everything else is going to step up in basis when you pass. Everything else will go to your kids tax free, but it gives you the option. Or what I like even more than that, go out and get 8 HELOCs. Get 8 home equity line of credits on the whole portfolio. Give yourself access to $2 million of credit that you never use. And then if you have a bad diagnosis or your health changes or your life changes or something, cool, we've got $2 million of credit that we can use. We don't even have to sell a house. We own them all free and clear. That's easy. And so I like how flexible it is, but beyond that, it's a lot safer. And I'll just tell you, it's obvious. The SECs you shouldn't be involved unless you got like 10 million bucks, right? You could go buy a single family residential rental tomorrow and the bank will lend you 80% because they know it's a way safe asset class. It's really good. And that's why we've helped people buy 5,000 houses. Like once we chat it through, it's awesome. I love it. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. It lets YouTube know that you like what we're putting out and that you'd like to follow along. If you want to let YouTube know that even more, like, subscribe, share with a friend. If you want to see anything else that we've produced in the past, our entrepreneurial journey starting 30 companies, managing $300 million in wealth over 10 years, all the free advice I can give, feel free to like, follow along, share this with a friend. If you'd just like to see something that my team thinks is the best thing that would most interest you, click right here. Thanks for following along.